Okay, well then, mine says 7 o'clock, so welcome to the council meeting of August 5th, 2025. We'll start off with a calling council to order. Councilor Richardson.
In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge our meeting place. The City of Flin Council Chambers is situated on the ancestral lands of the Treaty 5 territory. We would also like to acknowledge that we work in partnership with First Nations in Treaty 6 and 10 territories and the Red River Métis Nation.
Thank you. Councilor Slip, please.
Reading confirming of the minutes, 25-108, be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held July 15th, 2025 be adopted as received.
Seconder, Councilor Eagle, all in favor? Good. Well, this is where we hear delegations, so I understand you're here to speak to us?
Yes, sir.
Well, you're up.
Okay, so it's a short one tonight, I promise. So there was a small complaint. I've had treated town water coming into my basement at 24 Main Street for a couple of years now. I brought it to a number of people's attention over a period of time, and it's finally been addressed. The basement is dry as of this morning. I got a call from a neighbor on Church Street saying that the town had attended to it on Friday. So much appreciated, because I burnt out in the last 2 years. I burnt out 5 sump pumps trying to keep up. So it's been an expensive little process. So I'm just thank you for getting that leak stopped.
You're welcome. Sorry to hear that. I didn't realize that was happening.
Yeah, it was. So the question then is there a form I should be filling out the next time I have a leak? Because I've had a couple of leaks there before in the past. One was on my own circulator that Birch fixed for me 18 years ago. So I just didn't know if there was a form I should be doing if I'm doing it wrong, because I've just been reporting it, and like if I see somebody that works for the town, like the foreman there, I'd ask them, or I'd come into the office and just tell somebody in the front. So if you prefer it in writing, I will gladly do that next time, or...
There's a couple of different ways. There is a form online actually where you can put in a service request, or even if you happen to spot a pothole somewhere else in town, you can send that information in online as well. But coming into the front and talking to the person at the front desk is also a good way. We've had some staff changes over the last year and a half, and so we've been probably missing the odd thing. But I'm really glad to hear that our public works department was able to get to that for
because it was coming in there pretty good. So now the compliment part, I just wanted to commend everybody. There's a couple that are missing, but just commend everybody the communication during the evacuation. I appreciated it. I know people that I've talked to also appreciated it. I think you did an excellent job of letting the community at large know what was going on, and also wanted to let you know that I don't know what the proper name is for it, but the texting alert, like for example, when there was a mandatory evacuation notice, it caught me when I was on my way up to fix a roof. So I left Nipoa and got the text in Dauphin, so I didn't have to waste a trip. So I appreciated the $100 and saved fuel. But it was very effective. So just kudos to all of you for doing that. Can't imagine it was easy. And then while I'm here, one thing I would like the town to be aware of, I brought it to a number of people's attention, whatever the right grammar is on that. I still contend that the Main Street in front of 24 Main Street is sinking. And I think that it's going to become a large problem in the next few years.
And what is sinking? I didn't hear.
The street.
Okay.
Main Street. And it might be correlated or caused by when the co-op took out their tanks and filled them. I don't know, but coincidentally, like I've gone at the front of 24 Main Street, I've gone from a 2-step to from a 3-step to a 2-step. And I had to adjust everything on the way around. The sidewalk, if you look at the sidewalk in front of 24 Main, you'll see the fractures. And if you look at the street, you'll see the angle of the street has become more pronounced. In 2015, I used to call the town on a regular basis because the manhole in front between A&A and 24 Main would be overwhelmed with spring floods. It would just get washed over. And now it just washes over the sidewalk and goes into the A&A parking lot because the street hasn't settled that much more, so there's no natural drainage. So I think it's going to be an expensive problem going forward. So I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
Is that part of what we're dealing with in our paving in the next little while, or no?
Well,
That's around there.
yeah, it's part of what we started to deal with last year when we dug it up and we replaced the drainage system, because it had all rotted out. And so for years, we also didn't have a real effective drainage system. And so I could see where things, but I wonder long as it doesn't actually hit us, we'll be good. Anyway, and so when they did that repair, I remember this past year, Mike was talking about how he noticed that a lot of things had dropped down because our system had not been functioning correctly. And so now we've repaired all of that. And so what I'm hoping is that what you're talking about now, that we may have added some resolution to that.
Good.
Yeah.
That's all. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for the compliments to the city, by the way. Okay, and we've heard the delegation. The next thing is that we are going to do is I'm going to read a proclamation because it's Arthritis Awareness Month, September 2025. So whereas arthritis impacts 6 million Canadians, which means 1 in 5 people are living with the realities of this disease. It causes chronic pain, limits mobility, and significantly affects overall quality of life. Whereas for over 77 years, Arthritis Society Canada has relied on the strength of nationwide community support to advance its mission. Whereas Arthritis Awareness Month is an opportunity to raise awareness of arthritis and to show support for those living with arthritis and their families. Therefore, I, Mayor George Fontaine, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 to be Arthritis Awareness Month in Flin, Flon, Manitoba. We move from there to resolutions, and that's Councillor Eagle.
Thank you. This is Resolution 25-109, check schedule. Be it resolved that the accounts in the amount of $1,636,841.07 be approved for payment.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Passed. Councillor Richardson.
Policy number 8.31, employee documentation, 25-110. Be it resolved that policy number 8.31, employee documentation attached hereto be approved.
Seconder, Councillor Slip. All in favor? Okay, that is passed. With that, unless anybody wants to make a comment, I'm going to ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay. And now for questions.
Well, Jeff kind of mentioned it, do you have any word when this progress on Main Street, when the lights and paving is gonna be completed or started?
The light work is on behalf of the province. And so we actually just had a meeting not that long ago, a week ago or so, with regards to highways, and we are also looking for concrete date, and we're not gonna be doing something there.
So you haven't got one then? Okay. Obviously before the snow flies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'll just say you're waiting to you're waiting to hear back from them. And anything out with the pool update, what's going on with that? I know I drove by there, I see there's progress being made, but that month off or 5 weeks off, is it gonna hurt how things move forward on that?
No, it's still on time, still on budget. In fact, I had someone who had asked for a tour and went through with Kate last week when I was away, and they were very impressed with the progress, very proud of the work that has been done by our contractor, and by the city too, of course, as it's our project, so.
So who went for the tour? Who was that?
I was an RBC representative from the
Okay. So everything is on budget, it's on time, and what's the theoretic date for that to open again?
It'll be, opening to the public will be probably spring of 2026, and I say that, I suspect that construction is going to be done a lot earlier than that. However, we're going to need time for the people to train in the facility, so that's why it'll take a little bit longer. My ultimate target date for the pool construction to be done is December 31st, 2025.
Really?
Yeah.
So construction will be completed then, and then you'll do training till for the spring of
Yeah,
2026?
we'll get things in place like furniture and, things that we need for the pool, for the kids to enjoy and so on and so forth. And then we'll have the training and get used to the facility, and then we can open to the public.
By the way, Eric says that he'd be more than willing to do some lifeguarding if you guys are short.
I'll let Kate know that.
Yeah, I did not have the attention span to lifeguard at any point, so I bet you're shocked.
Just gotta sit up there and go, Eric, pull your
I know, like, listen, I know there are times where you will throw me into a bit, and it's been a long time since you've done it. This is like, oh wow, it's almost like being a teenager again. Also, because I wanted to keep composure about it, quality pun there when you said for the paving project, you're looking for a concrete date. I almost rolled my eyes and just went, ugh. But thankfully, that's been avoided. I did want to ask about something that drew my attention during the evacuation, which was that the city had put out a tender looking for potentially demolishing the Flin Hotel. I haven't checked up on that in the last little while, but since I'm here, I might as well ask, what's the status of that? And has that been tendered out? Is that going to happen? What are we looking at?
Who wants to take this one, or do you want me to?
You,
You can if you like, or I will.
Go ahead, George.
Okay, so I believe we've got prices. Is that where we're at? I'm gonna do
Yes.
that with a question. Now what we have to do is we have to spend a little bit of time doing some serious thinking, because this is a different kind of a year. We have had incredible number of expenditures that we're not expecting. So we may have to take and move some money around within our budgets to make certain things happen, which means that it might be for monetary reasons that we choose not to demolish it this year if we don't. So it's a limbo right now, because finances are what are gonna just dictate what we do in the next few months.
But the goal is, if it all works out the way you intend, that it comes down this summer or at least later this year.
Well, we had talked traditionally about looking at, September or later to start that project in any case. But right now, like I said, funding, we have to really, we're just gonna have to judge based on what it is we have and decide whether we're going with that this year or whether we put it back in mothballs, and wait. So it's not decided.
we were thrown a pretty large curveball.
A little bit.
Yeah, we've got a lot of bills to cover that we have not yet been reimbursed for. We need to maintain a cash flow. If that's what it takes, that's what we'll do. Okay?
Okay. You mentioned, like, obviously, 3 guesses as to what's incurred all the extra expenses. I know, obviously, like, the city budget went through the consultation process and everything like that before the evacuation. Obviously, because of everything that happened, didn't get fully passed until after we got back. Is it too early to tell then, perhaps, what sort of monetary impact this might have for the city? Like, how it might change the budget, how things might have to get shoveled around?
Well, this is one of the pieces, right? So it's not that our budget isn't still the right budget, but the difficulty is that because of the expenses from the firefighting and the other things that we had to manage around the fire, we will be cost covered for those expenses. Unfortunately, there's a time frame that's involved. And so we may have to push that demolition, for instance, as Mayor Fontaine mentioned, to a future date. And so in a way it has impacted our budget, but not to the point where we've said, okay, we absolutely aren't doing what we said we were going to do. It may get postponed, but we're still looking at all those things.
Okay.
So proceeding but with ultimate caution.
Yeah, yes,
That's where we're at right now, because we don't know when disaster financial assistance and that relief is actually gonna kick in, and the time lag makes a difference.
I imagine when you do take down that hotel, you probably have to close down a portion of Main Street, I guess, eh?
I don't know, because they didn't when they took the neighboring buildings down. We'd have to see.
That's a big building.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not, what they did the last time was not like some implosion or anything. It was piece by piece, so I don't envision that.
Yeah, because the 3 buildings adjoining, it wasn't like a big, it wasn't like the water tower, basically, where it came down, everybody got to watch it and clap
Yeah.
and everything like that.
Or the stacks when they fell, that kind of thing.
Yeah, or the head frames, yeah, exactly. So like, this is gonna be more, likelihood, like, people with loaders tearing it down piece by piece kind of job, right?
I
Well,
would think so.
yes, and
Okay.
if I recall last time, they used a lot of water in the process to keep the dust down. There was a lot of precautions that are done in a location like that you didn't worry about in some of those big industrial settings.
Well, God forbid, you'd want to keep the dust down with that Flin Hotel. Lord knows what's gonna be in that if it goes up. Also wanted to know, and I don't know if it'd be asking you to talk to our school about it, but I'll ask anyway and see what you think. Obviously, there was a lot of fanfare about the project that was going to go on with potentially redeveloping that hotel. And I would presume the fact that now that the city is looking at tendering out its demolition, that didn't pan out. What sort of led up to that? I know there was conditions on the purchase, and then if those conditions weren't met, then everything would move back to the city. Were those conditions not met? Was there like were there issues in communication? Like what were we looking at?
The conditions were not met. I think we gave you the reasoning that we were given before, was that the gentleman who was the financial part of the planning project passed away. No one picked up the torch financially. The other people, some other people in the group wanted to continue. They just didn't have the money to make it happen. So somebody had to be that person, and that person was gone, and nobody stepped in. So we had to call it with respect to that. We haven't, 100% given up on that building. I haven't. I mean, as long as that building is standing, that we've been given an opinion by an engineer who was in there that said there is some definite value to the building itself there. As a matter of fact, he put a pretty high price, a pretty high value on the building. But it's only, it carries that value if you've got a business plan and a financer ready to carry that through to a complete and operating business. So we have the asset that's still there. There are things that we're looking at doing that that could in fact potentially sometime ever use that. One of the things we talk about is having an urban reserve in this community. And that would be a good thing for us financially and culturally. If we could convince an Indigenous group to take that building, for example, and turn it into something, it could be dwelling, it could be businesses and dwelling, we would certainly still go for that. So as long as that building is still standing, there is a chance, maybe not a big one, but a chance that something could happen. So once we tear it down, that's all over, right? So I'm not worried about if we have to look at it for another year. One way or another, it's going to cost us some money and it has to go. But if it doesn't happen now, well, there's still a chance that something could.
And understandably, I mean, some groups that are interested in maybe new projects, whatever, that's what they want to do, is a new build. I mean, even Ramada at one point was talking about a new build rather than renovating a building, no matter how sound it might be, except for the roof, of course, which is not a small consideration. But a lot of groups really, they want to new build. They want to find an area to build on and do what they want to do rather than work with what's already there. So that's up to investors and builders too. But we'll see.
So if I could characterize where the city's looking on this, would it be fair to say then that like the plan A would be still seeing if there's somebody willing to purchase it or develop it, and plan B would be to knock it down? Am I wrong in saying that?
It's going to be that way until it's knocked down.
Okay.
Absolutely. But we were ready to follow through with Plan B this year.
Yeah.
Again, we said we got to hang in there because of local conditions financially.
Yeah, we would have gone to Plan B
Yeah, for sure.
if all the other stuff didn't happen.
And we may still, we're just
Yeah.
gonna have to wait and
Yeah.
see what we get for results and what we get for, comments from the provincial government, with respect to disaster relief, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we just have to wait.
Okay. To go a little bit off of that, I like it when somebody finishes off their answer with the thing that I was about to ask about again, which is that provincial disaster assistance. You said obviously the city's waiting to hear on a few different things, and this might have an impact on the city's bottom line. I don't know if anybody know offhand exactly what the city is still being left to have reimbursed later, but what are we looking at for that?
Everything that we have costed in terms of the fire is still not been reimbursed. So what we heard today about disaster financial assistance, they were to make a decision on July 21st as to whether this event was going to be considered a disaster. And so I touched base with them this morning because we're past July 21st. And I was told that the province has called a by-election in a more southern place in Manitoba. And therefore there will be no communications with regards to funding decisions. And that we are unlikely to hear anything until the end of August or mid-September. And at that point then, we can actually ask for an advance if we don't have all of our things together and if we haven't incurred all of the, you know, what we would cost it still.
Okay. And that by-election is at the end of this month, isn't it? Like 4 weeks out?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a way to buy yourself a month's extension, I guess. Just dumb question, but I'd rather know the answer than not. When we're talking about expenses incurred during the fire situation by the city, what exactly are we looking at here? Are we looking at like fire gear, like hoses, sprinklers, turnout even? Like, is that what we're looking at here or what?
We're looking at pretty much any type of expense that was incurred during that fire. So firefighter pay, for instance, and, you know, they worked a number of hours, so there's quite a bit involved in that particular subject. And then, yeah, food, exactly, fuel for the fire trucks, fuel at the airport for the planes and helicopters that were landing. Those are fairly large, hefty bills as they come in, right when we have to purchase fuel for the airplanes. And so it's a fairly hefty number because it includes everything.
Okay, fair enough. Wanted to check in as well, because I wasn't here at the last meeting. Actually, it got held the very night that I went on vacation. It's like after all this, I could check up with y'all later. Needed the break. But looking over the minutes that are in this package from the last meeting, there was one thing that kind of caught my eye that I wanted to see a little bit of information or an explanation about it, which is development plan amendment, first reading, that came up at the last meeting in the zoning plan amendment, first reading, both limited development to light industrial. There's no map on this, so I don't know where or what we're looking at exactly, but what is this particular measure?
It's right beside the rail yard in Channing.
Okay.
And so what it is there's a piece of property there that we've purchased from Crown Lands, and we have industrial interest in it. We have a company that is planning on putting a business there that will be related to working with the railroad and the rails themselves.
Okay. So then are we talking about a situation where the city buys Crown Lands and then sells the land onto this, or are we looking at more of a lease situation, or is it too early to
No,
tell?
we're purchasing that land.
No, I mean, like, once you purchase that land, is it being leased out to the person who's putting that business on it, or is it being
We
sold? Sold it, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, fair enough. And I will check the package out from the last meeting. That'll be up on the website by now, right?
It should be.
Meeting minutes, okay. All right, I'll give it a check, I'll give it a check. One more question, I think that ought to be it for me, which is about the summer construction season. I've asked about this in previous meetings too, because I know for sure that everything that's gone on here so far this summer might have led to some sort of hiccup along the way. The last time I asked, it seemed like it was kind of too early to tell. Now that some time's passed, how are we looking for summer construction plans? Are they coming along as scheduled? Are they being delayed a little bit? Are they ahead schedule perhaps? What are we looking at?
I think you're gonna see some of those construction plans over the next, 30 to 60 days. We did have some tenders out, we've made decisions with regards to some of those tenders. We've got some paving that's gonna be done. We have a huge project, probably about half of the sidewalk work from that bus job is going to be done still this year. We have some other curbs and things that are being done this year as well. Bus actually came today, I haven't seen it yet, but I will go look.
Does that hit the road in September?
Hmm?
Sorry, does that hit the road in September, that bus?
Yes, and absolutely by September, hopefully
Okay.
sooner. We'll just need to do some checking and get some licensing and so on, but as soon as it's ready to go, it'll be out there.
Okay.
I don't know if you, no, sorry, but I don't know if you noticed, but our graffiti program is working full throttle. Graffiti is being taken off buildings on a regular basis, which is fantastic.
Okay, because I know I did see that somebody had tagged up the back of the library pretty quickly. That seemed to have been dealt with. For that program too, there was a certain, like a set of time between when it was first reported and when the city would get involved if somebody had tagged up a private business or a private residence or something like that. How is that then going?
So what we did was we adopted a program that's being adopted in other communities. And what we've done is we've purchased the washer, the sprayer.
Okay.
It sits on the trailer and we have our public works, or Parks and Rec crew go out with it and do the removal of graffiti. And all that a business has to do is let us know that they're having difficulty removing it. There's no time frame. The sooner the better, of course, though. And then we will go and deal with it.
Okay. So I think, like, I can't speak to how anybody thought, but I think some people might have thought, like, they'd have to incur an expense to get it gone or something like that, buy cover-up paint, whatever it might be, but if it's, we call the city, somebody shows up with a pressure washer, gets rid of it, and it's all cleared, then, you know, if anybody had some sort of hesitancy to use it, maybe that goes away, I don't know.
I think initially that could have been the case, but was it you, Heather, who found it, or Allison, about the other communities with the graffiti removal program, and it seemed like a great idea, and it was what we adopted.
Yeah, and we wanted to really kick it off so that we could get things cleaned up and have a lot more pride in our community, especially our Main Street area, because it's a centerpiece. And then as we go forward, we'll see how it's working. We'll take a look at it again next year and see if it was, we can see that it's already successful this year, so. Yeah.
It's an excellent idea,
Yeah.
no question about it.
All right, that's it for me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks guys.
Enjoy your evening, folks.